how you do anything is how you do everything. And how you do everything is how you do anything.
And I put.
That's why I tell him, I say, door to door, anything you do is 10% physical, the rest is mental. So if it seems like it's harder, if you're mentally preparing yourself, even through the obstacles, you're going to come out on the greater end because it's always going to be obstacles.
If you do the right process, the result will naturally happen.
Yep.
And then once that day
Us
comes,
Danas are smart.
1, 2, 3, go.
Therefore, hardy har har.
Believe it or not,
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
And we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
Is Bitcoin and the stocks the same?
So, no, and that's a great question. So, Bitcoin is very speculative in gambling. So,
Yeah.
back in Denmark, there was this thing called the tulip craze. And you know how much a tulip costs?
No, a flower. Yeah.
It's a flower, right?
Like a dollar?
Probably, yeah,
$1,
yeah.
$10.
Pretty cheap, right?
Yeah.
Well, in Denmark, they started inflating the prices of tulips. And everybody thought, oh, the tulips are going up, tulips are going up. And because somebody here was willing to buy it, somebody else thought, oh, it's still going to go up. And then they're like, well, if he thinks it's going to go up, I think it's going to go up. And everybody just thought tulips were going to go up in price, and they started rising ridiculous prices, right? And then all of a sudden, people realized they're just tulips. They're not worth anything.
Right.
And the market crashed, and everybody lost a bunch of money. Some people made money if they got out and sold early enough. But people were buying tulips for, I don't know what the real numbers were, but it would be the equivalent of like buying tulips for $100.
Wow.
Thinking it doesn't matter because I can sell it to somebody else. It was called the tulip craze. It describes a lot of things. Like in the late 90s, there was the .com bubble where everybody thought every .com, it's always going to go up and it's going to keep going up, and I'm just going to, I can buy it at this ridiculous price because I know it's going to go up, and I'll sell it for more and I'll make money. Because if you buy something at this price and it goes up, how much money did you make?
A little bit more money.
The difference between the two.
Well,
So if you bought something at $50 and you sold it at $75, how much money did you make?
$25.
Extra
Boom.
20%.
That's right. Exactly. So everybody thought, I can buy it at 75. I'll buy that at 75
And
because
then
somebody
I'll
else will
sell
buy
it.
it at 100. Oh, I can buy it at 100 because somebody else buy it at 125. Oh, I can buy it at 125 because somebody will buy it for 150. Okay? And what happened in the 90s is suddenly there wasn't anybody willing to buy for more, and people were like, oh, I've lost confidence. Maybe I should sell. And everybody starts thinking they should sell, and then it's worth nothing because nobody wants to pay. And so the price just keeps dropping, just like it did with tulips, just like it did with the .coms, and just like what has actually happened with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was worth $70,000 for one Bitcoin
Okay.
in February. It's worth $20,000 today. Is it going to go up? Maybe. But here's the difference in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a made-up currency, and it's a made-up. So it's basically like as if I took a piece of paper and said, this is money, and I'm only going to make a certain number of these. And so we can trade these as money, and it's private, and there's these other benefits, but and we'll just sell it to each other, and it's worth whatever it happens to be worth today. It's fairly arbitrary. It's only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it.
Right.
However, with stocks, there is an inherent value. Because let's say that this building was owned by a company, and that same company that I had the 100 shares of stocks. If you own one share of that, and the company actually owns this building, well, if this building is worth $100,000, then 1% of that is worth $1,000.
Right.
Because the shares represent actual ownership of something. And we know that the house is worth $100,000. I mean, maybe the value of the house and things go up and down based on the market.
Right.
But there is something that's there. Or maybe the company has $100,000 in the bank. Then for sure the company's worth $100,000 unless it owes money to somebody.
Okay.
So if they got $100,000 in the bank and they owe $200,000 to somebody else, then the net value is, if they paid the $100,000, they'd still owe another $100,000. So the company's worth negative $100,000. They have debt. But some companies like Apple has more than it's either like $1 or $2 trillion in the bank.
Yeah, there are.
And so that company is worth real money. You have a share of that company. So what can happen is the company says, just like when I said a minute ago, like if you want to, at the end of that first month, you sell your gumball machine and you take the money. That's called liquidating.
Right.
It's taking your money out.
Because you're selling it.
Right. And you turn everything into cash. And when you close the company, that cash gets distributed to the shareholders based on the percentage of ownership they have. So if we both had 50 shares and there's $100 that's going to get distributed, we both get $50 because it's in proportion to the shares. So stocks have that inherent value, and they publish what the actual holdings of the company are. They also publish the earnings. So if, let's say that you own 1% of this company and I own 99%, and the company makes $100 that year, it can distribute that $100. It can hold on to it and reinvest it, or it can distribute it to the owners.
Back to us.
And so with the owners, they have those 100 shares. If you own a share and they're going to pay out that $100 in income, they're going to pay $1 to every shareholder. So they would pay you that dollar, and they would pay me the other 99 if I own 99% of it. If you own 50 shares and there's 100 shares out there, and they're going to distribute $100, $1 per share, and if you own 50 shares, how much money would you get?
$50.
Just 50.
Right.
Yeah, you get $1 each share.
Oh yeah, I thought it was.
So if you own
You
75
thought you
shares,
get 100.
if they're distributing $1 per share and you own 75 shares, how much do you get?
Just $50.
No.
No.
You own 75 shares.
Oh, I just get $75 then.
You get $75. What if you own 100 shares? You own all 100 shares.
I get $100.
That's right. What if you own 2 shares?
I just get $2.
Right. That's how stocks work. When you buy shares of stock, that's what happens. And you can look up the price per earning. You can compare the price to how much they earn.
The stocks are doing good.
You
Which
can.
ones are?
There's a thing called book value. That's like how much money the whole company, how much they value themselves. Like Apple, if they have $1 trillion in the bank, they can value themselves at $1 trillion if that's all it was. That's called book value. And then you have the dividend price. So like Apple actually just recently had a dividend, and I own some Apples, so they paid me some money because I own some shares of that.
See, that's something that
So
we
that's
need to get
how
into.
stocks work. And that's why stocks, although, you know, if a company goes out of business and it's worth nothing and different
You
things,
don't get
it's
nothing.
still a little bit risky. But Bitcoin is highly, highly risky. And the
It's
price
almost
of Bitcoin,
like gambling off.
It
of,
is gambling.
off of hearsay.
It
That's
is
why
gambling.
I wanted to know, because I went in the store the other day and it was like, I think it was at the ATM machine, and it was like, or buy it with Bitcoin, and I'm
Right.
like, what is Bitcoin? Like, I keep hearing it. I hear the chatter, but
mean, you got a
you don't
whole
have nothing concrete to me enough
right.
to invest.
And Bitcoin is a currency that a lot of people know about, but not a lot.
It's just almost
It's
like
not,
hearsay.
It's not background. You have no background behind it to say
Like the
yeah,
stocks?
nobody says like, yeah, I had Bitcoin and it helped me out a lot and did this for me. It's kind of like just looking at a review on something. You get 5
Yep,
stars.
and then everybody goes
if I
off
see
it. 'cause
everybody do 5 stars, I'm gonna be like, this is something I feel like I can trust. I can put my money into it.
do you ever watch Dave Ramsey?
no.
Okay, start watching Dave Ramsey. Help and teach you how to handle money. And there's a thing called Financial Peace University.
I think I looked them up after we
Yes.
left.
And
here.
so I'm actually going to buy y'all, as my gift to y'all, the Financial Peace University for you to go to. Take the whole family. It's 2 hours a week for 9 weeks. Like lots of churches and things have it. But I spent $250,000 on my law degree. I spent $129 on Financial Peace University. Ask me which one I think is more valuable.
Financial Peace University.
Yes. And I'm giving that to you as a gift. So go to it.
appreciate
And then
it.
follow and do the things that are there.
Because I remember looking it up after we left, and while I was cooking, I was listening to the video, and I kind of got distracted and never went back. But just listening to the beginning, this is what distracted me, because I'm an adult, and as kids, they think they could save the world or whatever. But it was talking about like saving, are you saving the right enough money? And I'm like, yeah, let me worry about laundry detergent right now, and kind of clicked them off. But I know the value of properly placing money and utilizing it so it can make money for me.
No matter how much money you have, no matter how hard times get, here is the Dana's golden rule of money. Always live on 90% of what you ever take in. And 10% you invest, no matter what. Mama
Just
needs a
90%.
surgery, and I need that money for surgery. Mama, I love you, but
I like that rule.
Mama, I love you, but it's been good knowing you. No matter what, we don't touch the investment. We don't take that 10%.
No.
Because that 10% is what the key to real wealth is. And that 10% is the thing that saves everybody else years from now.
Yeah.
There's a book called, I'm going to give you this book too. Do we have a copy of Richest Man in Babylon in here, Brandon? Maybe not. I keep giving too many of them away. But I'll send it to you. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a very, very important book. Read it. Because you are like the man who becomes the richest man in Babylon. He's a young man, and he's hustling, and he goes to the richest man in the city of Babylon, and he asks him, what's the key? How do I get rich?
Right.
And he goes, well, look, I came to you because at the time, they didn't have printing presses, and you had to hand copy books.
Yes.
And he wanted a book hand copied. And he says, all right, I needed this book today, but if you stay up all night, or maybe it's a week, or however long, and you get this to me, then I'll tell you what the secret to riches is. And the young man stays up. He makes it happen. He gets him the copy. He makes the copy by hand.
Wow.
Like imagine like taking a book and having
And you
it
have to
copied
write
out
it.
by hand, right?
All night.
Yes.
No sleep.
With a candle.
And he
With
does it. And he
hand.
says, all right, what is the secret? And he says, in everything, 10% of what you make is yours to keep. And the young man goes, what? I don't understand that. What do you mean? He goes, well, like, for example, here, I'll do it with you. You pay rent? Okay. You pay your utility bills? Electric, water,
Gas.
internet?
Yep.
You buy food?
Yes.
You buy gas for your car?
Insurance.
Insurance? You paid your car?
Yep.
All right. And then how much is left over for you at the end of the month?
Nothing.
Okay. So you paid yourself nothing. You worked literally for nothing. You gave your money to the grocery store man. You gave it to the electric guy. You gave it to the gas man.
The car.
You gave it to the insurance company. You gave it all the way to all these other people. But you know who you forgot to pay? Is yourself. There is no discernible difference to anyone in living off of 90% of what you make versus living off of 100% of what you make. If you can't make ends meet on 100%, you're also not going to be able to make ends meet on 90%. But if you force yourself to live on the 90%, then you will likely expand and find that extra money. And because you don't pay yourself first, people only grow to the necessity of what they've got. Because you've got all your necessities covered, right?
Right.
You make the ends meet, right? You just forgot something. And for you to grow 10% more, it's indiscernible in your actual day-to-day life.
Yeah.
The only difference of that is whether you do it or not. And if you do it, you will be rich.
Yeah.
If you do not, you will not. That is the secret.
I like
and the
that.
richest person in this room is him.
Yeah.
Because he has the time. And if you ever study compound interest, the chart goes like this, and then at the end,
It shoots up.
skyrockets up.
Because if you think about it, starting a business at that age is the best time because you have
time.
nothing to do.
And you have more time.
And you have no expenses.
You got no
Yeah.
expenses. Your parents are taking care of you. This is the best time. I don't want any kid that's listening to this. Best time to go outside. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do door to door. So no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying maybe start a lemonade stand or start selling candy or something like that.
You know what
'Cause
my
this is the
first
best
business was? I sold candy. What grade are you in?
I am in the 4th grade.
4th grade. I started selling candy in 5th grade. And this was the first
Oh,
time.
yeah, because I remember you told us you hired your first.
I hired my first employee in
Which was
5th
this
grade.
spring.
Because I would walk to 7-Eleven, buy the candy, and then sell it the next day at school. And in fact, it was around, I remember it being around October at the time,
Halloween
too.
time.
Because I remember, I just remember, it being kind of cold when I started walking around. And so I think I got shut down before that because the school and my parents shut me down. And the reason that I got in trouble with it is because I started issuing credit to a little boy named Jimmy. Never issue
No credit.
No credit.
They pay now or they can't get it. I'm really sorry, but the price is $1.
This and
The
you
price
got
is
it.
this, and if you don't have it, I can't give you
The
you have to
credit.
pay first, and then I deliver it to you.
Yes, I'll
So
give
you got to
it to
go
you.
get the money right now. If you want it
Yeah.
bad enough, you get it right now. If not,
If you want this Hershey, you don't have to pay for it. Sorry. I can't give it to you.
right. Tell me some of the skills that you've learned, because I know one, that handshake. So teach the audience how you.
You know what? It's a crazy story of actually how I learned how to do my handshake. And you would think, oh yeah, your dad or your mom taught you. It was actually by a man. Now, he didn't do anything, but he opened up the door and I shook his hand. And he looked at me. I looked at him. I was like, something wrong? He was like, your handshake, it's so dull. I was like, whoa, I never knew you were supposed to shake a hand so firmly or
With enthusiasm.
with enthusiasm. And so I was appalled. And he was like, I want you to walk down the street. Then I want you to come back up. And when you get back to the top, knock back on my door, and we're going to do this all over again. So we went down the street. We came back up and knocked on his door. And I gave him a firm handshake. He was like, this isn't your first time giving a firm handshake. And I was like, it actually is. And he said, surprisingly, even though you didn't give it to me the first time, you gave it to me better than anybody else I've ever met. And I was like, I was surprised because I was like, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know it was a firm handshake. Okay, something you need to sell. You can't talk to somebody without doing this, especially if you're in the sales business. But you can't talk to anybody or tell somebody a secret or something you're trying to get them to believe you or tell them a truth or something. They're not going to believe you if you don't give your good handshake and eye-to-eye contact.
Boom. That was it.
That was
I knew
it.
you were going to say it.
If I took this time and I was talking to you and I was looking over here and saying all I'm just saying and all of this, I wouldn't be at this podcast today if I did that at your door.
That's right.
A week ago. You would be like, he's not coming to my podcast. You probably would have never did 600. You probably would have been like, hey, here's $10, and you can
Probably.
move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
And it's funny that day because I tell Myles, he normally volunteers or go to work with his dad because I'm more the militant one. I guess they have a softer bond, I would like to say. So the day that we were in your neighborhood, I tell Myles all the time, you walk fast, you walk like you're worth. Someone's looking, somebody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
You always are a noble man, whether you're in the grocery store, the gas station,
That's right.
your demeanor, your character, the way you carry yourself
Right.
on a day-to-day basis is very important because you never know who's watching.
You could have been in the grocery store.
Well,
And
I
it's
saw
funny
you
because
walking
when
up,
we
remember?
walked up and you were like, you were on the phone and you were like, I said, here's this guy, this little boy, and he's selling something or something. But when we walked away, I said, see, Myles, the importance of how you're carrying yourself.
Yep.
Because Mr. Dana saw that you were working. He wanted to know what your goals were, and y'all path clicked because of the energy that you
Right.
were already setting forth to
Right.
the universe.
I never, ever, I don't like to think. If something went wrong, say something went wrong earlier today, I wouldn't show it if I were outside perfectly because I want to let everybody else know that even with something going on or even with something happening, I'm going to look my best and there's nothing you can do about that. The more you say something is more fuel to my fire, so that's not going to work. I keep my head up the most I can and I put it down during bad weather just to make sure none of those bad comments get in my ear because there's nothing you can do to me than say foolishness that's not true.
Yep,
right.
it's about what you think about yourself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Positive mindset.
That's the
Did I talk to you about Lanny Basham yet?
No.
Lanny Basham is a Olympic silver medalist in 1972 in rifles for the United States. And between 1972 in 1976, he figured out what the difference is in the people that are just really good and can compete at the Olympics versus the people that win the Olympics. Because to Lanny, silver was the best you can do and still lose. In fact, you're like the best loser.
Like you're
he
the
goes,
best out of the worst.
That's right. He goes, so don't get me wrong. A silver is 10 times better than a bronze, and a bronze is 10 times better than no medal at all. And going to the Olympics itself is a privilege, but there's nothing like the gold. And he figured out what it takes to get that gold medal. And what it takes is mindset.
Yeah.
And you've got it. And when you were walking up, and that mindset, and you carry it with you everywhere, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And how you do everything is how you do anything.
And I put...
That's why I tell him, I say, door to door, anything you do is 10% physical, the rest is mental. So if it seems like it's harder, if you're mentally preparing yourself, even through the obstacles, you're going to come out on the greater end, because it's always going to be obstacles.
And you push yourself when you do this. You push yourself, because I think of what my highest day is, and I think, I'm going to pass that today. And even when I don't, I'll be like, Myles, you did a heck of a job trying to.
Excellent.
And you
That's
push
right.
yourself and you push yourself.
It's about
and
the process,
yes,
not the
and
result.
Yes.
And
If you
then-
do the right process, the result will naturally happen.
Yep.
And then once that day
Us
comes,
Danas are smart.
and then once that day comes that you pass the expectations of your most highest day doing door to door sales, you're like, now, tomorrow when I go out, I gotta pass this record.
That's right.
And then once you start doing it on a daily basis, you're gonna start being like, okay, now I am in the state of mind where I can do anything.
Yep.
But it's all about having that mindset at the beginning of just
Of the
not
race.
just not just getting lucky and you pass that
Yep.
what you had. It's from the beginning. Once you get your highest record, is when you set a mark for yourself. You're like, there's there.
That's right.
That's right there.
That's right.
I'm still back here. I fell back down. You can't just stick yourself up there, because if you get the same thing every day, it's going to become normal to you. And you're just going to be like, now I
Complacent.
want to stop doing it.
Exactly.
Now I'm tired of doing it.
How do you know this at 11?
I don't know. It took me to almost
Brilliant.
40. And I'm still getting
and
it.
then and once you keep doing that same thing, you get that jump. You feel like, I want to jump. And I jump up.
Momentum.
And let's say that's 10,000. So I went from 5,000 and I jumped up 10,000. And I stay right there. I keep getting 10,000 every day. Now, it's not saying it's bad profit, but you're getting bored of doing the same thing and you feel like quitting again. But it's all about keeping the same mentality of when you kept getting 5,000 and when you said, no, I want to jump up. I got 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. So this way, I don't ever have to worry about getting the same thing anymore, because I have the same mentality. And this happens each day. I pass up a goal. I always set a goal for myself. I set a little map in my head before I go to bed. I'm going to wake up, smile at myself, brush my teeth, get ready for the day, go out, and just accomplish something new. Hey, today I'm probably going to make $5,000 or push myself to the limits. Hey, once I get inside, I've got nothing to do. This is the times you take advantage. You don't just do it because of the money. You do it because I ain't got nothing to do. This is the best thing I can do, is build yourself. When you got time, build yourself.
Absolutely.
There is no time to just sit there. You got to build yourself. You can't put yourself on the ground and be like, I've done enough for this past week. That'll last me.
It's never enough.
If I make $5,000, and I make a list of a whole bunch of things to spend it on, I'm probably going to have like $1,000 left. Just depends how you spend it. But it also depends of that list could still be done, and I will have $5,000 still. Because not only did I spend $5,000, I worked and I got another $5,000.
So never sit still.
So you never sit in one place.
That's right.
Because the people that are talking about you, they ain't got nothing to do either. And they're like, he's still sitting right there. and they start doing something. And then, oop, they passed over you, and they could talk about you even more. And they keep going, and then you're like, I gotta catch up. I'm way back here. You try to catch up, can't do that now. Because you set for so long with just that
momentum.
5,000.
Yep.
Now you just have nothing, and now you're all the way back there where they were. And they're sitting there laughing at you all the way up with trillions of dollars, and you getting $5 an hour by McDonald's, and you're like, where did that $5,000 go? And you're like, you spent it all. That's what I was saying. I was surprised when you said just keep that 10% to yourself.
Well,
Out of
10% is the minimum. For you should be about 80%. Run your life at 80% because you got no expenses. So, take that 80% of yours and try and maintain that 80% for as long as possible. Like if you and I are having a conversation when you're 27 years old and I go, all right, what are you down to now? And you go, I live on 72%. Like that's the conversation I want to have with you in 15 years, right? Because you're going to come back. We're going to be closely monitoring your career. And by the way, there's some things it happens.
I know.
It only takes 15 years. We're going to be monitoring you closely, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come to you, and you're going to have some challenges, and you're going to be going, all right, I got all this here. Which ones do I really do? And you're going to have some things that work real well, and you're going to have some things that don't. And it's going to be a really good and exciting adventure for you, and it's all of what you make for yourself. And that mindset that you have, please keep that. Don't, and I'm going to tell you this, don't ever drink alcohol. And definitely don't do any drugs. But skip alcohol. You can skip it. It's not worth it. I don't know what your politics are, but there's one good thing that our former president had. Donald Trump never drank, ever. He lost his brother to alcohol, and his brother would always tell him, don't drink alcohol. He's never taken a drink of alcohol in his life, and that's admirable. And look how successful he is from that. It's a big deal. And I used to drink. I don't anymore, and it's better. And you got so much going for you. Like sometimes people drink because they just got nothing else, and they're so sad that they drink to escape from it because that gets you in the moment.
Depression likes to
Yep.
just throw its badness on you and be like, here's a cover of badness, wrap yourself in it,
And
and
so,
this is going to just soak there. And I'm going to go get somebody else while you're sitting there and do that.
Yep.
And it amuses it.
Yep.
It amuses all the bad things in your life because it's like, yes, you're failing. You're doing what I wanted you to do. Until you take that cover off and you're like,
Yep.
I had so many good opportunities. And some people say, live your best life while you're young. Work while you're young.
Yep.
So when you're old, you can do all the
Yep.
things that you wanted to do when you were young. You can go to all the parties and you can.
to me.
Of course, her name's Dana.
Yeah.
That's what I try to explain to him. And the great thing, hopefully come January, we'll be able to get our first group of 10 youth to volunteer because the goal is to show them that this is the prime. This is when all the best wrestlers, when you're young, you have a little more energy. All the extra things that
Put
you're
that-
seeing on TV or that you feel like you're missing will come later. It gets greater later. And at least if you're an adult, you're able to enjoy it from the hard work. Don't hard work
And you got
later.
money saved behind.
Yeah, don't hard work like I did at the end of the race.
But
Now it's
that doesn't mean I'm going to stop working. It just means I won't work as hard.
You're going to do different work.
yeah.
Yes.
You're going to be on a different level, a much higher leverage level. And you're going to need the wisdom that you're gaining from what you're doing right now. Right now, your mantra should be, I either win or I learn. There's no such thing as losing, no matter what happens to me. I
And
either win or I learn.
I put it like this. I like that I spend most of my life around adults because I learn a lot more from an adult like you or just doing door-to-door, meeting people like you. I learn a lot more from them than I would learn doing things that other people are doing today. And even adults,
Oh, yeah.
they would do it. So I learn a lot more from personalities. So I'm not even going to say adults. I'm going to say personalities. Certain personalities that are like, do the right thing. You hang around people with $1 million, you're going to end up with $1 million.
You're listening.
Yep.
You put all that work and you put it all inside. And when I say I'm gonna work until I'm old and I can chill, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop working. I might hire people to work for me, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop.
The work just changes.
Yeah.
And an entrepreneur never really retires.
Yes, you never retire.
You can't. Nothing else is fun.
Get a
Nothing
business
else gives
going.
you the same feeling. Because you're not helping people. You realize what you're meant to do and bring into the world. And it brings goodness. Let me give you this also piece of advice. Never sell anything you don't believe in. And never sell something to the wrong person. Don't sell the wrong thing to the wrong person. Always got to be right thing to the right person. Right service, right product to them. It's got to benefit them. And if you're like, don't just sell it because you want to sell it. The best thing that you can do is not sell something to the wrong person. So it's better to make no sale than a bad sale.
Yep.
And if you have that motto, I promise you, you will have more good sales. They will just come to you. And people that, because you made a good sale and you did the right thing, they're going to send you more business. It's going to grow. You're going to be as rich as Elon Musk.
That's what I tell him sometimes. Like every day, we teach him to have goals. I say, in order for you to be a leader of other inner city youth, you're going to have to start setting goals. And every day, you're not going to accomplish it. When you go off to school, I have a list of goals that I'm supposed to reach. And sometimes I don't reach it, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the things won't fall down. You got to have tenacity to keep pushing.
Mentality. Drop depression before depression drops you. Before the bad habits and all the bad things drop you.
You have
Because
to fill,
trust me, they're coming.
That's right.
And they're coming faster than you could ever expect.
That's right.
So
You
gotta
have to
drop it.
fill the time and space and attention that you have with something good. Otherwise, it will naturally fill itself with something bad.
Yep.
And you can
Yeah.
either make the choice or the choice can be made for you. And
By somebody
don't
you
be a
don't even
victim.
Yep.
Take your choice because you're only a victim to your own decision. And make good decisions.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.